Little Rock Air Force Base, the home of C-130 combat airlift. The foundation of America's combat airlift resources, with the largest C-130 fleet in the world.
Aero 51, runway 25 at hotel, line up and wait. Aero 52, proceed north, remaining within 5, tower call, you're inbound. Aero 52, roger. Aero 51, runway 25 at hotel, wind 005, clear for takeoff.
More than 90 C-130 aircraft, capable of a global reach for the U.S. Armed Forces.
We understand that there's a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, or Coast Guardsman in harm's way that is counting on us to do our job. We call it trash hauling. And it's not a derogatory term, but literally if you can fit it on the airplane, we can move it.
Oh, I'll go ambush that one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Colonel Mike Minihan began his Air Force career as a C-130 pilot. On the same base, he now commands. It
takes all of us to pull our weight and to be synchronized because everyone's counting on us to get the job done. We've got to supply airlift, combat airlift, C-130 airlift to the front lines to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to do to win the wars that we're fighting right now.
From fixing them to learning how to fly them in a flight simulator, the C-130 is a workhorse. With the ability of supplying humanitarian airlift relief to victims of disasters, to aerial delivery of supplies and troops into the heart of war-torn regions.
Some days we are the bus that takes people to work or home again. Some days we're the moving van that takes those critical supplies in. Some days we're the hearse, unfortunately, that brings the fallen angels home. And some days we're the ambulance that gets a fallen service person to that critical medical care that ensures that 98 to 99% survivability rate.
More than 7,000 active duty military and civilians live and work on and around Little Rock Air Force Base, generating more than $700 million in economic impact for Arkansas and the surrounding communities of Little Rock and North Little Rock, Sherwood, Jacksonville, and Cabot.
I can't imagine Jacksonville as being Jacksonville today without the Little Rock Air Force Base. My wife and I got married over 33 years ago, and our marriage little program said, the two shall become one. And it's almost, I see that same kind of marriage between Jacksonville and Little Rock Air Force Base. Even though they're two communities, there's a relationship, there's a marriage there, but in many cases, we're one community. And what affects them out there affects us.
Jacksonville Mayor Gary Fletcher understands the value of what the base means to his city, and he's constantly working to reinforce what's become a very special relationship.
The Little Rock Air Force Base is the greatest partner that any community could have, and the greatest neighbors. In fact, they're not even neighbors. I think the relationship now has deepened to family.
I never get tired of saying it. I hope you don't get tired of hearing it. But the community that surrounds this base is second to none. And it doesn't come with this position or marks or eggs, but from the 3 wing commanders from the reserve unit, we owe our wonderful community another round of applause and appreciation. So thank you.
'75-year-old widower Dorthy Shoemaker lives right up the road from the base in nearby Cabot. She got married the same year the base opened. That was 1955.
The Air Force Base is the backbone of the community. This town would be a ghost town if it wasn't for the Air Force Base.
Paging through old photos brings back fond memories for Dorthy, remembering her husband Brian, who was once stationed at the base, then retired, like some 50,000 other military retirees who now live in the area.
I hope they never have to close the Air Force Base, because that would be our first downfall for the area.
Since its opening in 1955, Little Rock Air Force Base has been an essential part of the fabric of everyday life in the city of Jacksonville, as well as the city of Little Rock, 15 miles away.
Here's our priorities for FY12 that need to be accomplished.
Andrew Wright is the base community planner. It's his job to help the Air Force decide what the base should look like in the next 50 years.
I run various programs, one of them being the AICP program that works with the community to make sure that what we want to do in the future and how we want to look like in the base doesn't conflict with where they want to be in the future. And so we partner with our community to make sure that we are compatible with one another.
The Air Force developed the Air Installation Compatible Use Zone program, commonly called AICPs, to promote compatible land use around military airfields.
AICPs is vital for the success of our military mission here at Littlerock Air Force Base. We have to have some type of encroachment details to the overall community around us to make sure that they are well versed in what we need as a base and what our impacts are on a base. It's because we want to protect the health, safety, and welfare, and we want to be able to grow here at Littlerock Air Force Base, and AICPs allows that.
Over the years, Littlerock Air Force Base has worked closely with adjacent communities to minimize noise impacts, as well as plan for future growth and expansion. Through sophisticated computer mapping programs, the Air Force can chart out aircraft flight tracks and show noise levels around the base.
The AICPs zone is simply just another enforcement measure to make sure that good growth happens in and around the air base and in the city of Jacksonville for the citizens of Jacksonville.
Based on the guidelines in the AICPs studies, Air Force planners work directly with local, state, and federal officials to implement the appropriate land use recommendations.
AICPs is to protect the people as they develop. It's very specific. It's like very similar to floodplains and floodways and creeks and rivers. You don't let people build houses in them. Same thing with AICPs. If planes are going to fly over it 24/7, we're not going to build big apartment complexes. We're not going to build places of assembly.
Sandy Gray remembers when they used to live on the outskirts of town. Now it's in the middle. So what used to be farmland where cows graze is gradually turning into new housing subdivisions and malls. Local city planners project the wide open spaces will slowly disappear, and development could eventually surround the base in the next 30 to 40 years. That's why controlling growth is so important.
In the AICPs part of it, what they want to make sure is that they are a great neighbor. It's not that they're trying to enforce rules, but they're trying to protect themselves as well as the citizens moving into that area to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
The AICPs study provides land use recommendations for noise zones and accident potential zones, a crucial tool in planning future growth on and around military bases.
We ensure that there are no surprises with our AICPs study. That if the mission changes or if the mission is to grow on the base, that doesn't surprise the community in a negative way. And vice versa, if the community is to grow or change outside the base, that they're not caught off guard by the impact of what the mission is.
Littlerock Air Force Base, working hand in hand with surrounding communities to minimize the effects of aircraft operations on people and neighborhoods, while at the same time defending America.